Welcome back. So we looked at the two different types of division. We're now going to go on to the next section, which is creating a string that spans multiple lines. So to see exactly what's going on here, I'm going to copy this into Notepad. And normally when we create a string, okay, we just need to use quotation marks one time. But if you look at this string here, okay, we have a variable and it's set to the following string, but that string goes across multiple lines. When you have a string that goes across multiple lines, you need to put in quotation marks 3 times. Now, you can practice this right here in this editor that we have, but let me show you a little trick. If I type Python editor online, now there are editors that you can download and install, but I think if you're just starting this for the first time, it's probably better to pick one of these editors that we have online. And I see there's a Python 3 editor, so I'm going to go ahead and choose that one. And it's very similar to what we're doing in the Codecademy. We have a place to enter the code. We have a results window. We can even create files here. We'll come back to this section on the left later. It's not very important right now. So let's go ahead, copy our code in, okay? And it's not really going to help just to run it. We also want to print it out. So I'm going to do a print. And what are we printing out? We're printing out this string right here. So I'm going to do a copy and put that in there, and you will see the result in the window right there. So let's click Run. And you can see that that string spans three different lines. So if we go to the exercise now, we want to create a variable here called HeyKey. So let's paste that in. And it's going to be a string, so we need quotes, but the string, if you look at it, spans multiple lines. So we don't just need one set of quotes. We need 3 of them. So let's go ahead and do a copy. And we'll paste that in. I just did a Control V. Count the number of quotes. I see 3 at the start and 3 at the end. Okay, and you can run that. Nothing happens. So if you want to verify, again, just simply print it out. So let's do a print, quotation marks, and print out the name of your string variable. So let's click Run, and in the results window, we can see that our string spans 3 lines. In the next exercise here, we are working with Boolean values, true and false. Now, this is important. Notice that true and false are not in quotation marks. Okay, they are just written out there because it's not a string. Boolean is a data type, okay, independent from string. So A is true or B is false. The other important thing to notice with true and false is that they are written with a capital T and F. So let's go to the exercise here. Like I said, at any point if you get stuck, just look at the hint. Okay, so let's read the comment. Hi, my name is Maria. I live in the Python script. I'm a Python expert and I'm 21 years old. So what do we have to do here? We have to create a variable. Age is 12. So let's copy and paste that in. Now, is that true or false? That's obviously false. Now, if you look here, okay, Python thinks that this is a variable, and I know that by the color. Age is 12 is red, and false is also red. False is not a variable, it's a data type. It is a Boolean data type. So when I capitalize the F, I see it becomes blue, which is the color we would expect with a Boolean data type. Let's click Run, and we see that indeed works. So let's go on to the next variable. My name is Maria. So we'll copy that variable in. Okay, and this time it's true, but don't forget it has to be true with a capital T. Let me show you what happens if you do it with a small t. The code editor thinks that true is a variable, and it's not a variable. It is a Boolean data type. And let's click Run to make sure we did it correctly. In the next exercise, okay, what we're doing is we're converting data types. Okay, so let's look at the first example here and copy that into Notepad, and so we can study it carefully. Now, I'm going to do this the wrong way. Okay, I'm going to do it like this. Okay, so print. Okay, remember this is, we want to put it in brackets in case you're using a Python 3 editor. Okay, so print the following string, I am, and then age. Well, age is 13. But when you do a plus after a string, okay, let's break this up. It's expecting a string to follow. However, age is an integer. Okay, so we have a problem here. We're going to get an error message. So let's look at this error message so we can appreciate what's going on. I'm going to copy what I have here, and I am going to go to my code editor. Let's remove what we have in there, and let's try this out. And yes, indeed, we get an error message. So the way you correct this is by converting age from a number, from an integer, to a string. Okay, and this time that it will work. So let's go ahead and put this method, these are called methods, and try it out, and we see indeed it works. Now the other thing that can go wrong in this example, okay, is you forget those spaces. So let me take out this space there and this space there. Let's run it, and we see I am 13 years old, but 13 is kind of sandwiched in between with no spaces. So let's put a space after the word am and a space before the word years, and that will fix our problem. Now, what kind of type conversions do we have? We have a lot of them. We have the string method. Okay, so anything you put in here will be converted into a string. You have the integer method. You have a float method. Okay, and we have other methods as well that can convert data from one type to another. So in the example we just saw, an integer was converted into a string. So let's go to the example that we need to work on here. Okay, so first thing we need to do is we need to create a product. So let me do a copy and paste of the product, and it equals two numbers put together. Actually, I think I was supposed to have two numbers put in there originally. So we have two floating point numbers, two floats, and we're going to create a product. So the product is float1, and I'm doing this copy and paste here to minimize errors, multiplied by float2. Okay, and let's go ahead and run this, and that seems to have worked out correctly. Okay, so we've converted, we have added two floating numbers together. Now what we're going to do is we're going to create another string, okay, called big variable. So there's a variable, big string. So there's a variable called big string, and what are we going to set it equal to? We're going to set it equal to the following. So the product was, so let's do a copy and paste that in. So that's going to be a string. So the whole thing needs to be in quotation marks. Okay, now this x here, that x here is the product. Okay, so let's remove that x and let's concatenate. So concatenate means gluing more text, gluing more string together. And what are we going to glue in there? We're going to glue in product. Now, let's look at this carefully. Big string, okay, is a string. This product was, or the product of the two numbers was, and then we're going to add more string to it, product. But product is a float, so that's going to give us an error message. So let's click run, and sure enough, there is an error message there. So the way to fix this is we have to change product from a float to a string. So I'm going to type in string there, or str, that's the string method, and that will fix the problem. So let's click run, and we see this time that it indeed works. And if we want to print out this variable, we can see what the result is. So I'm just going to put that inside the brackets. So we're going to print out big screen. Let me close this here, or big string, okay. And the product was 4.25. Let's go on now to, I think, the review. Oops, wait, no, it looks like I still have to do some more work here. What is going on? Let me do a reload of the screen. And it will not go to next, which means I've made a mistake here somewhere. So let me read this carefully. Create a string called big string, and it gives you the product of with the value of product where x is. Okay, so let's go ahead and run this. Run. And let's read the error message. The set big string, the product 4.2, which is okay, should be the product was 10. Okay, why does it say the product was 10? Okay, I believe I did it correctly, but I'm going to examine this and I'll explain what the problem was in the next video. Oh yes, I see the problem now. Product means multiply, and what I did was I added. So I'm going to take away that plus and put a multiply, and this time when I click run, I see that it does in fact work, and I do get the correct result, which is 10. So let's go on to the final section, which is a review. So once you complete that review, you do the whole thing. What I want you to do is I want you to go to your code editor, or sorry, I want you to go to your dashboard and go to Python 2, click on Python 2. And this first section here should be marked with yellow. So what you're going to do is you're going to upload the final result with a yellow check mark there.